Hello everyone, welcome back. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for joining me for another round of ghost stories sent in by you here to this email address, ghost stories, weird stories, anything. For those of you who've never been here on a Monday, Mondays is where I tell my subscribers ghost stories that they send in to me. And this series is very much based on Bailey Sarian's Murder Mystery Makeup Mondays. If you haven't checked it out already, although I'm very sure you already know who she is, I'll leave a link below to her channel. So just before we get into a video today, I just want to say thank you to one of my absolute favorite sponsors, and that is Redecor. So it's available now on Android and iOS. You can go ahead and download it from the link that I will leave below for you in the description box. So if you haven't played it already, Redecor allows you to restyle and decorate photorealistic rooms. There are so many different things to choose from in terms of fabrics, materials, woods, metals, paintings, everything, curtains. There's so much stuff to choose from to add your own unique flair and taste to the room. And now you can also redesign the Oval Office. Listen, if there's any room that needs a little bit more of an upgrade in terms of decor, I think that room is one of them. Now, every level is a competition. So every room you design is judged by 10 other players against 9 other people to see who makes the best room. And I mean, sometimes the results come back. I do rooms and I think they're incredible, and they come back, people didn't like them. And sometimes they can come back with a really high score, and usually it's the ones I don't expect that come back with that score. But then I can kind of use that to like cheat the system and be like, well, this is what people like, you know? I really personally love this game. It's so relaxing, and there isn't any sense of urgency or anything like that. You can do it in your own time. You can really think about how you want the rooms to look, how you want the like overall vibe to be. I find it really incredible. Now, there are some very questionable designs on the game, to be honest. Like this green wall, for example, looks pretty gross. Who wants that kind of bright, intense color for a nursery? It's meant to be calming and relaxing. And there she is, look, grandma, never impressed. She's never impressed. I mean, I wouldn't be either, to be fair. So as I mentioned before, Redecor are giving you the opportunity to redesign the Oval Office. Listen, how would you redecorate if you were president? I think I would take out the carpet and the curtains, but keep like the symbols, but like modern. I don't know. It's a big decision. So this is me redesigning it. I wanted to keep it modern, professional, but modern. Keeping in mind the flag as well. You know, those colors are always going to be around. So let's kind of make it match a little bit more. I mean, you have to have a little bit of a red, white and blue in the Oval Office. So if you are up for the challenge, then you can go ahead and download Redecor now for free on iOS and Android using the link I've used below in the description box. And thank you again, Redecor, for sponsoring this video. Okay, let's get straight into today's ghostly doings. Listen, my eyebrows are a mess, but you know what? For me, they're not a mess. I'm growing them out, so this is like my gradual they're getting there. They're messy, but in my mind it's like, you know, we're on our way. So today I'm going to use the Strawberry Milkshake palette from Alien Cosmetics. This color right here. Oh, and I'm going to be using also from them the Low Light highlighter palette. Look how crazy that is. Is it highlighters? I guess it can be for whatever you want it to be for, can't it? And I also have some lashes I'm going to use from them as well. Here's today's theme, right, of how I died. So this is based on a true story. So listen, I'm just a simple human. I've never gardened in my life. I've cut grass, fine, but I cut grass recently and I put the grass in a bin bag. I thought, let me leave that in my garage and I'll get rid of it at some point. I didn't realize that grass like does its own thing and turns into like this mulch, this stench, I can feel it here. This happened this morning, by the way. I went into the garage and I was like, oh, someone's died in here. It smelled so bad. And I did a little bit of sick in my mouth. So we've died from poisoning before, but we haven't died from the smell of dead grass. So that is what's happened. We died from the smell and from a little bit of throw up in my mouth. Now, I hardly have any brushes today, so I'm going to use my Sigma switch, which is like a color switching thing. And let's just do it. Let's get into our first story today. Our first story today is called Weird Creepy Attic. The best kind of attic. Wowzers. Oh shit, that's some pigment. It says, hi Robert, I discovered your channel not too long ago, but I really like your content, thank you so much. I want to pursue a career in cosmetology, so you've been a very helpful source for me. Oh, that's great to hear, thank you. Anyways, when I was a much younger child, around 9 to 10, My family and I had moved into a house that my grandma was moving out from. The house was pretty spacious. It had 4 bedrooms, a living room, pantry, attic, so on and so on. So you got up to the attic by going through the pantry. There was a door, but when you opened it, you would see old, steep wooden steps leading up. My parents never let us go up there. They said it was unsafe and they didn't want us to get hurt. Well, fast forward a few months, and my brothers and I were playing hide and seek. My older brother was the seeker. My 3 other brothers had ran off and had taken the best hiding places. I wandered off into the pantry and was going to hide on one of the shelves, but the attic door caught my eye. I decided that what my mum and dad don't know won't hurt them. I unlatched the lock on the door and turned on the light at the bottom of the steps before closing the door behind me. As I ascended the stairs, I heard this rocking sound. I didn't think much of it, and I continued up the stairs. As I reached the top of the stairs, I looked around. The place was bright, and there was a chalkboard, and 3 old, worn desks, and a rocking chair. The rocking chair was rocking backwards and forwards. Even with my young mind, I knew that the rocking chair shouldn't be rocking without anyone sitting in it. I brushed it off. I noticed that the attic was very clean. This was weird because I've seen my parents bring different boxes and whatnot up the stairs to store away. It was like someone had taken the normal attic and pasted a classroom into it. I started to get this really weird feeling, like I was being watched. The rocking chair was still rocking, but it stopped as I turned around. And not subtly, it stopped suddenly, like in The Conjuring when the little girl was in the room with Annabelle. I remember feeling very scared, like that paralyzed type of fear. I couldn't explain it though, because nothing significant besides the chair had happened until I felt this warm breeze against the back of my neck. It was like someone was standing right behind me, breathing down my neck. Ooh. I shivered and started walking away. But then I started running. I felt like you do when you turn off a light in a room and you're rushing to get back to the light because the darkness terrifies you. Well, fast forward a few years. We had moved to a different house by this time. I was 11 to 12, and I was talking to my mother about the time I went to the attic. The whole time I was explaining my experience, she looked at me like I was crazy. When I was done, she stayed silent for a minute and told me that there was no rocking chair or classroom in the attic. There were only boxes of clothes and other crap she didn't want downstairs. I don't understand because I know what I saw was real. My mother continued. She went on to tell me how the attic used to be a classroom for a family who were homeschooled. The mother had died in the house from a heart attack. My mum said that when my grandpa moved in, he took all those desks and crap that was in the attic to the dump because they just took up space. Let's just say I now don't sleep easily at night. You know what? Again, it's that childish classrooms, teachers, kids, rocking chairs. It's the scariest thing to kind of experience. Not I have. It's terrifying. I hate it. Why are classrooms creepy? Did you ever, when you were in school, right, at like the end of the day, when everyone's leaving school, did you ever have to go back into your classroom because you forgot something and just had the eeriest feeling to be in somewhere that was so suddenly quiet and just like, you know, you're not used to it being that quiet, and being in there felt like a little bit weird? And I know that feeling of turning the lights off and then having to run. It's the same when you run up, like down, if you're downstairs and you turn off the lights and you have to run upstairs because for sure like a ghost is chasing you. 100%. Okay, so we have an audio story next.
Hi Robert, my name's Catherine and I'm from Texas and I love your channel. I've learned so much. I never really got into makeup until I was in my 40s, and in the past couple years I've really learned a lot from you, like how to deal with having a scar in your eyebrow, which is super fun. So thanks a lot for that. My daughter's fiance told me a story this evening that I thought you just had to hear. So his family is from Mexico, and a part of the Mexican culture is the story of La Llorona, which most people in Texas also know. La Llorona is a apparition, a ghost who appears mostly to children, often around water like rivers or lakes, but it's been reported of her being seen in other places. And she will kidnap children and drown them. And one of the ways that you know that who you're seeing is La Llorona is because of her crying. You always hear her crying. La Llorona translates to the woman who cries. Or her white dress. So my daughter's fiance told me that when he was a kid, he was walking by some train tracks near his home, and it was 4th of July. So there were people out everywhere. It wasn't quite dark yet. It was almost dark. And as he's walking along, he's walking to the store, and he keeps hearing what sounds like someone really loudly crying. He thought it was just some people who were like partying in the next house next to the train tracks. But he saw a woman walking down the train tracks in a long white dress. And he didn't really remember any details about what she looked like. He just remembered the dress, how long it was, how big it was, everything about this dress. She walked... He just kept walking. She walked all the way up to him and walked past him. And as she walked past him, he said that not only did he stop hearing the crying, but it's like everything just went quiet. And then once she was fully past him, then he could hear the crying again and everything else. And he turned around to look, and he didn't see her behind him. And he thought, wow, that was weird. And then he turned around again to keep walking forward. And there she was in front of him again. And then he went and took another path to the store because, just noped right on out of that. So that was his encounter with La Llorona. I told him that he must have had a family member who had some kind of a protection put on him, because otherwise he might have ended up another child victim of La Llorona. Thanks so much for listening to my story, and have a great Monday. Bye.
Thank you so much, and thank you for sending that in and sharing the story with us. That is one nasty spirit. How lucky is he that she just walked straight past? And I guess you would kind of think, like, if there's like loads of people out drinking, you'd be like, oh, this is just some drunk person crying. Don't know. But that weird, how strange that everything just went like completely silent. Sorry, I burped, that's why there was a weird cut. Okay, our next story is called This Will Give You Chills. Let's hope it does. It says, hi Robert, I've been loving your videos. Thank you. My sister Jen introduced me to your channel and insisted that I send in my story. Well, thank you, and thank you to Jen as well. This is a chilling tale that took place in a department store before I even worked there. Everybody involved still worked there at the time I did, and this is the story as I know it. Ever worked in a department store, you'll know that towards the end of the day, it's important for everybody to do a quick search and give the all clear that there's no customers and that it's safe to lock up and go home. For context, this all took place in the British department store. The top floor was for children's wear and toys. There was also a cafe that would close an hour or so before the store did. In order to get to the staff room, you would have to walk through the cafe. Enough setting the scene and on with the story. On one particular day, it was fast approaching closing time, and the store was almost empty of customers. A colleague had just come out of the staff room and was walking through the empty cafe and out into the main store. She saw a little boy around 4 years old, who was sitting on one of the chairs in the cafe, swinging his legs happily. Although he technically wasn't allowed to be there, she assumed he had been tired of waiting for his parents, who were probably browsing for clothes and just around the corner. She smiled at the boy and didn't think anything was too out of the ordinary. although he was memorable because he was wearing shorts and no shoes. This colleague had returned downstairs to her department, where the staff and security team were trying to confirm that the store was clear of customers, and that they would be able to look up when it was time to do so. She had told him that there was a boy, and presumably his parents, still shopping upstairs. Another member of staff overheard and confirmed that they had also seen the same boy upstairs in an empty cafe. The store obviously could not close until they were absolutely sure that no customers were still inside, and so people went to look for the child. People searched and found no little boy or even any worried parents looking for him. The store was empty. The two staff members who had seen him were certain that they were so concerned for his well-being that eventually the security cameras had to be checked. There was no little boy seen on the cameras, despite the two separate sightings. Either two people had the same hallucination that day, or there's a little ghost boy who patiently waits in the store for somebody to come and collect him. This is one of the stories where I have to check behind me everywhere. Ghost children. So I used to work in Selfridges, which is a really old department store in London on Oxford Street, and although it's been like updated, of course, it was, some of the back areas were really fucking scary. That's it, that's my story. Okay, I'm just gonna do my foundation quick and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, so foundation and lips done, and as is custom, we have Marcus reading us some stories.
Yeah, no, I'm just recording your ghost stories now. Yeah, no, I'm just about to start. Yeah, I know I haven't done the toilet. I'll do it when I get there. Bye. Hi, Robert. This first story is called Apartment Intercom. Hi, Robert. I love your videos and they've been really helpful with improving my makeup skills. I also find entities imitating loved ones or those close to you to be very unsettling, and this story will explain why. This happened about 8 years ago. My family and I live in an apartment complex wherein you had to punch in the apartment number using the intercom at the main door to be let in, if you did not have a key. Also, for a bit more context, we live on the second floor and the main door is on the first. Anyways, it was a Thursday night and I was alone at home doing my homework. It was around 8:30 PM when the phone rang. I answered it and very distinctly remember hearing my mum's voice asking me to open the door for her, in Tagalog, my mother tongue. I, without thinking, said okay, pressed the button to open the door and thought nothing of it until 9 PM comes around, and I wonder what's taking my mum so long to get up to the apartment. Even if she were to check the mail or something, it would not take her half an hour because, like I said, we just lived on the floor above. Then I noticed something else was off. I wondered why she called to be let in. She usually doesn't because she has access to the underground parking lot that has direct access to the elevators. This meant there is no need for her to be using the main door intercom, but I didn't think much of it, as she might have forgotten the keys to the garage. I hear the phone ring, and it's my mum again. She said she's going to be coming home a little late, as she's run to the grocery store for some milk. I got confused and asked if she went back out again to go to the grocery store, but she said no. She drove directly from her work to get there. She then tells me that she's going to hang up because my older brother was calling her. All the hairs on my body stood up, and I immediately ran to the door to put the chain on and the double lock just in case. I ran to my room and called my best friend and explained everything to her, and she kept me company until my mum was actually home. I don't know who that was, but I'm forever creeped out at how she sounded just like my mum and spoke in our language. And this second story is called The Girl at the Bus Stop. Hello, Robert. I have a story that my granddad told me. I hope you will enjoy it. My granddad worked as a regular bus driver for many years, driving from one city to the other, but later changed to drive kids to and from school. It was his first day of work, so he didn't know what all the kids looked like. He'd picked up the kids at different bus stops, and everyone was there. He dropped the kids off at school and was heading home again because he didn't need to do anything until the kids' school day was over. As he was leaving, after a while, he passed one of the bus stops. There was a little girl there. My granddad stopped the bus and went outside to talk to her because he thought he might have missed her. He asked some questions, for example, if she had been waiting outside the whole time, and if she was freezing because it was February and she was wearing a t-shirt and shorts. She said that she was waiting for her mum. My granddad asked more questions, but she just said it was a blue car. My granddad didn't understand what she meant, but because she was in the cold, he went into the bus to get his jacket so she could take it because she refused to get in the bus. But when he got back outside, the girl was gone. He went looking for her, but couldn't find her. A car stopped, and at first my granddad thought it was the mum, but it was an older man. My granddad explained the situation and described what the girl looked like. She had very curly, long blonde hair, was thin and short, and had a small gap between her front teeth. The man who stopped said that the only kid in the village who matched that description died the summer before in a hit-and-run accident. They continued looking but didn't find the girl. So my granddad went back to the school and asked them if they had a picture of her. They had a photo of her, and it was the same girl. I hope you enjoyed reading this. Thank you for being the best and funniest on YouTube. Well, there you go, Robert. I just have to echo the sentiments that you are the best and funniest poo bag collector on YouTube, and I can't wait to see your new series on how to store poo bags correctly in vehicles. Okay, I will see you next time.
It was one time. Thank you so much for those stories. People mimicking your like family. It's like the ultimate like spirit spite, you know? Like, I mean, possession, but also like, I'm going to pretend to be your mum. It's pretty spiteful. Okay, I'm going to work on some lashes. And as I promised, we are going to take a look at some creepy things from TikTok. That's more of a robot, I guess. Listen, if you have TikTok, you don't have to download. I'm not asking anyone to download it, so don't be that person that comments, I'm not downloading it. Fine, no one's asking you to. But if you do have it, then go ahead and tag me in anything creepy that you find on TikTok. It's at RobertWLSH MUA, so I can feature them in these videos. I'm just trying not to clean this right in front of the microphone. Okay, where's my blush? So let's take a look at this first video. There's about a few. And now, of course, we have to look at part 2. I've been trying to open this blush the whole time.
So before I go into what was behind the strange door in my house, I wanted to show you a few strange things that we found outside of our property. We went out into the woods behind our property, and we quickly found a cross in the ground, an axe leaning on the tree, and a few pairs of deer antlers in the tree. I had no idea what this was, and I quickly dismissed it until I saw that this was behind the door in our house. Later that night, after I threw all of the weird things away, we went out and saw this in the backyard. If anyone has any idea who this might be or what this might be, please let me know.
So that's creepy as, imagine moving to a new house and the first things you find are some old like deer bones in your, well, actually inside your actual house, and you go outside and some man is creeping around the bushes. Oh, I'm assuming it's a man.
Make sure they lock up the doors or anything like that.
Yeah.
We're going to be in this unmarked vehicle, and then for this prowler call, then I'll set up and just hang out and wait and see if we see anything. All right?
All right, sounds good.
We did have movement, and this might be your guy. Can you confirm that this is the guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's him.
You sure?
Yes, yeah.
Please, let me see your hand.
Okay, so that's creepy. The police are involved now. And the guy's just standing there like, yeah, so what? And the policeman chased him. Mm.
Did you hear the radio traffic?
Yeah.
All right, so we've had a lot of complaints from a community that's about a mile back. It's a meditation community, okay? We think he went in there, and essentially we're going to have day shift. Maybe go check it out. If you want to put that down, I have some maybe private information I can give you. I'm basically telling you, you can't stay here. I don't think your family's safe here. The incident I was talking about earlier, it was like a mile away from here, and it's very similar, and it did not turn out right. And that's basically all I'm going to say about that. Okay? This is very serious. We'll probably put 3, maybe 4 deputies on this. Okay?
You can't just move though. Once you buy a house, you can't just move. That's the thing. Like, money, so much money is involved, and it's like, you know, the chain and everything like that. Okay, 2 more parts. That is terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. That'll be it. I would go and like live in a hotel, or I would have to set up like 20 different cameras. Okay, here is the last one. I do have to wonder, like, I like to take every story and be like, yeah, it's definitely true. But I do have to wonder, if something so serious is happening to you and you're slightly scared your family is in danger, would you be really putting that, like, horror music behind it, you know? Let me know what you think. They are pretty scary videos. I have to be honest. They do scare me a little bit. And maybe we can catch up on it in the next video. Let me whack these lashes on and we'll be done. Okay, well, this is the finished. I gagged on moldy grass, was sick in my mouth, but also the smell poisoned me to death. Look, it's a bit of red for, I don't know, I just assume when you die from poisoning, like blood comes out your eyes. I don't know. I've never done it. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to send me any weird stories, creepy stories, they don't have to be ghosts. They can be in form of audio, they can be just an email, they can be a video if you want to film yourself recording. Those kind of stories help me a lot, and they actually get put on this series quicker than the emails do, the handwritten, the typed up emails. Also, go ahead and tag in creepy things you see on TikTok at RobertWLSH. And thank you again to Redecor for sponsoring this video. The link below to download the app on Android and iOS for free is in the description box there for you. Thanks so much again, and I will see you very soon. Bye.